The sky was dark. Stars were silent above a frozen planet. Then, a light shot across the clouds like a falling comet. Thought it wasn't a comet. It was her. She was inside a small escape ship, half broken, shaking from all sides. Sparks flew from the control panel. Alarms screamed in every direction. Warning, impact in 10 seconds. She held tight. Her name was Kalena, a scout from the outer colonies. Her mission was simple: explore unknown systems and scan for life. This was not part of the plan. Her ship hit the ground hard. Metal crunched, glass cracked. Everything went black. She woke up some time later. Maybe minutes. Maybe hours. Cold air bit her face. The ship was cracked open. Snow had entered through the broken side. Half her body was already frozen. She sat up slowly. Her left arm didn't move well. Her head throbbed. No signals, she whispered. No heat, no power. She looked around. Trees covered in thick snow stood like white ghosts. The planet was quiet. Too quiet. Her translator device clicked, trying to connect with something, anything. Nothing. She was alone. Kalena moved carefully through the wreckage. The cold was getting worse. Her body was stronger than a human's, but this was too much. She grabbed what she could: wires, plastic, broken panels. She started a fire with a heat rod. It worked for a few hours, then it died. The next night, she burned part of the pilot's seat. The night after that, her blanket. By night 3, her fingers were purple. Her lips cracked. Every breath hurt. She whispered to the snow, "Please, let someone be out there." The snow did not answer. On night 4, she had nothing left to burn. Nothing, except her clothes. She took off her outer jacket. Her hands shook as she threw it into the fire. The flame grew. She sat close, trying not to cry. Then her gloves. Then one boot. The fire crackled. It was warm, but not for long. Kalena looked at the last piece, her undershirt. Her hands trembled. "If I don't do this, I'll freeze." She closed her eyes and tossed it in. The flames danced higher, just for a moment. Her skin turned red from the heat. But she was alive, barely. Suddenly, a click, a sound, a soft mechanical click behind her. She turned fast, her body tense. Her breath froze in the air. Behind her, just 10 meters away, was something strange. A small wooden door, half covered in snow. It was built into a hill she hadn't noticed before. She hadn't seen it. Her scanner hadn't picked it up. The door was now open. Light poured out. Warm, yellow, human light. And standing in the doorway was a man. He was human. She was sure of it. Tall, rugged, maybe in his 30s. He wore thick clothes, some kind of old army gear. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp, watching. He didn't speak, neither did she. They stared at each other through the cold. Then, slowly, he raised one hand, and it was a blanket. He tossed it toward her. It landed in the snow. Still, he didn't say a word. He stepped back inside. And closed the door. Kalena's heart was racing. She picked up the blanket and held it tight. It was real. It was warm. It smelled like smoke and something sweet, maybe coffee. She looked at the door again. It was real too. A door. A human. A cabin. She was not alone. The fire was almost out. She stood up, teeth chattering, knees shaking. Her skin burned from the cold. She walked to the door. Raised a hand. Knocked. No answer. She waited. Then creaked. The door opened again. The man stood there. Still quiet. He stepped aside. Without a word, Kalena stepped into the warm light, and the door closed behind her. The cabin. The door closed with a slow, heavy creak behind Kalena. For a few seconds, she couldn't see anything. Her eyes were used to the white snow and dark sky. Inside, everything was dim lit only by a small fire in the corner and a single flickering light above. It was warm. Too warm. Her frozen skin stung as the heat touched it. Her body shook. Not from fear this time, but from returning life. Pins and needles crawled up her arms. The man said nothing. He walked ahead, boots thumping softly on wooden floors, then pointed to a chair near the fire. Helena sat down. She wrapped herself in the blanket he gave her. The chair creaked under her weight. It was old real wood. Hand-carved dot. She hadn't seen real furniture in years. She looked around. The cabin was strange, a mix of old earth and something newer. There were paper books on shelves, wires hanging from the ceiling, an old radio on a desk half broken. There was a heater made from scrap metal and an energy cell glowing faintly behind glass. It didn't belong here. On the wall, above the fire, hung a photo. Faded, 3 people, 2 men, 1 woman, all smiling. All human. The man caught her looking. He walked to the desk, picked up a cup, and poured something hot. Steam rose. He handed it to her. She smelled it. Cautiously. Tea. Real tea. He finally spoke. His voice was rough, like he hadn't used it much. You're not from here. It wasn't a question. Helena met his eyes. Neither are you. Silence. He sat down across from her, pulled off 1 glove. His fingers were covered in small scars and burns. I thought your kind didn't come to dead planets, he said, staring into the fire. This planet wasn't marked dead on our map, she replied, holding the cup close. We thought it was abandoned. He gave a quiet laugh, dry, bitter. That's the idea. Helena felt her heart speed up. Something was wrong. Why are you here? She asked. He didn't answer right away. He just stared into the fire, lost in thought. Finally, he said, because I can't leave. She frowned. Your ship is broken? No, he said, I am. That chilled her more than the snow outside. She tried to stand, but her legs were still weak. The man noticed. He walked over and reached out, offering help. She pulled back. He nodded like he understood. Suit yourself, he said. You'll feel better after some sleep. He walked to a door at the back of the cabin and opened it. There's a room, small, but warm. Helena hesitated. She looked around again. So many strange things. Tools, tech, and items from different eras. None of it made sense. She stood slowly, using the wall for support. As she walked past him, he said quietly, lock the door from your side. The room was tiny. A bed, a small light, and a strange box with blinking green lights. Helena sat down on the edge of the bed. The blanket was thick, the pillow soft. Too soft. She wasn't used to comfort anymore. She looked at the box again. It wasn't human tech. It looked old. Alien, even. She touched it. It buzzed and lit up, showing strange symbols. Then, a voice spoke from it. But not in English. It spoke in her native language. Unit status, critical. Location scan failed. Communication, blocked. Beacon, jammed. Her breath caught. She turned it off quickly. How did a human have alien tech? And why was her signal jammed? She didn't sleep. She lay in the bed, fully awake, staring at the ceiling. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, the fire crackled. At midnight, she heard something. Scraping. Like nails on the wall. Slow, soft. Then it stopped. She got up and opened the door. Just a little. Peered out. The man wasn't in the chair anymore. The fire was still burning, but the room was empty. Then she noticed his photo was gone from the wall. She blinked. Was it ever there? Asterisk. She closed the door and locked it. Then pushed a chair under the handle, just in case. She sat on the bed again, her hand on her small blade. Just a knife, not much, but enough. She stared at the door. Waiting. The next morning, she woke up to a knock. The man's voice was calm. Made breakfast. She didn't answer. When she opened the door, he was gone again. But on the table was a plate with eggs, bread, and a small metal cube. It had her ship's symbol on it. She rushed to it. Picked it up. It was her ship's black box, the last piece of data before her crash. How did he have it? She turned it on. A message played. Signal traced. Beacon activated. Subject approaching planet. Prepare capture. Helena dropped the box. Her hand shook. She looked toward the door. That man had been waiting for her. Asterisk the deal. Helena stared at the small black cube lying on the table. Her fingers were still cold, but now it wasn't the weather freezing her. It was fear. That cube, it was hers, from her ship. It should have been buried in snow, deep inside the wreck. But now, somehow, it was sitting here. On his table, clean. Working. She looked toward the door. He wasn't there. Or maybe he was. Watching. Waiting. She picked up the cube again. Carefully. Pressed a button. The message played again. Signal traced. Beacon activated. Subject approaching planet. Prepare capture. Her voice shook. Prepare capture. She set it down. Her mind raced. Did he bring her here on purpose? Was this place a trap? Was she the only one he'd brought here? She walked to the window. Snow still fell outside. Slow, quiet. The forest around the cabin was still. Too still. No birds. No movement. Like the whole world was holding its breath. She turned suddenly as she heard the floor creak. He was standing there. Same calm face. Same quiet eyes. He looked at her. Then the cube. You found it, he said, almost casually. Helena's jaw tightened. It was inside my ship. How did you get it? He walked to the fire, warmed his hands. I didn't, he said. It came to me. That's not an answer. He looked at her. No anger, just a small sigh. You want the truth? Yes. He nodded, sat down across from her. Then here it is. You weren't the first, and you won't be the last. Helena didn't blink. Her hand slowly reached toward the small blade hidden in her boot. He noticed. Didn't move. You think I lured you here? He asked. You had my black box. You knew my ship was coming. You had tea ready. That made him chuckle. I drink tea every day. She didn't smile. He leaned forward, his face now more serious. You're not wrong. I knew something was coming. But I didn't know it'd be you. Then who did you think it would be? He paused, looked toward the fire. I thought it would be them. Who? He whispered. The ones who watch. Helena stared at him. You're insane. He gave her a look. Maybe, or maybe I've just been here too long. She wanted to leave, right now. Just grab her boots and run. But run where? There was nothing out there but snow, cold, and death. She hated it. But she needed him. And he knew it. I need to contact my people, she said at last. There must be a way. There is, he said. But you won't like it. He walked to the back wall and moved a shelf aside. Behind it was a hatch, metal, newer, alien tech mixed with human design. He opened it, revealing stairs leading down into darkness. Helena hesitated. He looked up at her. You wanted the truth. It's down there. She followed. The stairs creaked with every step. The walls were metal now, cold, clean. This wasn't part of the original cabin. They reached a chamber underground, lit by soft blue lights. Machines hummed softly. A large screen on one wall showed static. Another displayed star maps. Helena stared. This wasn't a survival bunker. This was a command center. You built this? She asked. No, he said. I found it. Years ago. Who made it? Don't know, he said. But I think they were watching Earth. Maybe. Even protecting it. She frowned. From what? He pointed to a black door in the back of the room. From what's behind that door. She walked to it. No, he said sharply. She turned. You said I wanted the truth. Some truths kill. His voice was cold now. Real fear behind it. You open that, you might not sleep again. She backed away. Fine, she said. I won't open it. He stared at her for a long time, like he was trying to read her soul. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a small device. Round, silver, glowing. A beacon. He said, "Yours," she gasped. "I repaired it." "Took me days. You turn it on, your people will find you." She reached out. He pulled it back. "But you need to promise something." Kelena narrowed her eyes. "What? If they come?" "Don't let them take me," she blinked. "Why would they?" He stepped closer, voice low, eyes wild now. "Because I've seen too much. And they know it." Kelena looked at him. This wasn't just a survivor. This was someone hiding from everyone, even his own kind. She stared at the beacon. In his hand, freedom, rescue, warmth, her people, all one promise away. She took a deep breath and said, "Deal." Asterisk. The shadow Scalina watched the man's hands carefully as he handed her the beacon. It felt warm in her grip. Too warm. Like it was pulsing, alive. "You press that button," he said, "and it pings your people across half the galaxy." "And they'll come?" He shrugged. "If they're listening." She didn't like that answer. Before she could ask more, the lights in the underground room flickered once, then twice. Then the screens went black. All of them. Kelena looked around. What was that? The man's face changed. Not panic. Not confusion. Dread. "They're here." They rushed back up the stairs. Kelena held the beacon tightly, ready to activate it if needed. But outside the hatch, something felt wrong. The cabin was colder. Silent. Even the fire had died down. The man closed the hatch behind them and locked it. 3 thick bolts slid into place with a metallic clunk. Kelena stared at him. "Who is here?" He looked at the window. Then at the door. Then at her. "You need to understand something," he said slowly, voice low. "This place, this planet, it's not empty." She followed his gaze out the window. The snow had stopped. The trees stood still. Too still. No wind. No sound. Not even the creak of the wooden cabin, like the world had stopped breathing. Then she saw it. A figure. Far away between the trees. Human-shaped. Still. Watching. Kale single quotes now leaned closer to the window. "Is that someone else?" "No," the man whispered. "Not someone." She turned sharply to him. "What is it?" He didn't answer. Instead, he walked over to the table, pulled out an old rifle, and loaded it. "You asked me once why I was here." She nodded slowly. He looked at her with haunted eyes. Asterisk. "I came to warn them, to stop them from ever leaving this planet. But by the time I got here, it was already feeding." "Feeding on what?" she asked. He looked toward the window again. "Fear, sound, heat, thought, I don't know. But it learns, it copies, it wears skin like clothes." Kelena's blood turned colder than the snow outside. "You mean, it looks human?" "Sometimes," he said. "Sometimes it is human. But twisted." She stepped away from the window. "So, it's a shapeshifter?" He shook his head. "No, not like in stories. It doesn't just change form. It changes you, gets inside, makes you doubt, makes you forget who you are." Kelena laughed once, nervously. "That's ridiculous." He didn't laugh. Instead, he pointed to a wooden door she hadn't opened yet. "Near the back, in there." "Go ahead, look." She walked slowly to the door. Hand on her blade. Opened it. It was a bedroom. Simple. A bed. A shelf. A small light. On the wall, photos. Photos of Kelena. Her as a child. Her in a flight suit. Her standing with her crew. Real photos, all impossible. She stumbled backward. How do you have these?" He didn't answer, because something outside began to scream, not loudly. Not like a monster, a soft child's voice. "Help, help me, it's so cold." Kelena froze. The man grabbed her shoulder. "Don't open." "The door," he said sharply, "no matter what." She looked at him, eyes wide. "It sounds like, I know," he said. "It always does." Asterisk. For the next hour, they sat in silence while the voice cried outside. Sometimes it sounded like a child, sometimes a woman, sometimes Kalena herself. She clutched the beacon in her hand like a lifeline. I can call my people, she whispered. Right now. He shook his head. Not yet. Why? He stood slowly and walked to the fire. Because, he said, the thing outside isn't the only one who's been watching. Suddenly, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the cabin. Kalena jumped up, pulling her blade. Then a knock. On the door. Soft. Polite. Then a voice. Kalena. It's me, your captain. She dropped the blade. No, it can't be. I got your beacon, the voice said. Let me in. She looked at the man. He didn't move, just stared at the door. The knocking came again. Then, another voice. From the other side of the room. Also calling her name, also claiming to be her captain. Asterisk. Kalena backed away. Two voices. Same person. One real? Both fake? Or was she the fake? She pressed the beacon to her chest. I don't know what's real anymore. The man looked at her with calm, sad eyes. Neither do I. The truth. The two voices outside the cabin continued, one calm and familiar, the other warm and pleading. Kalena, we found you. Open the door. Don't be afraid. It's safe now. Same voice. Different tone. Perfect copies of her captain. Both asking to be let in. The fire crackled softly. Shadows danced along the wooden walls. Kalena stood in the middle of it. All heart racing, eyes wide, pulse hammering in her ears. The man stayed perfectly still by the fireplace. He didn't flinch. He didn't speak. He didn't even blink. What is this? She whispered, blade in hand. What's real? He answered without turning. That's the wrong question. She moved toward the window, slowly. The cold glass touched her skin as she peered outside. Nothing, just trees. Snow, darkness. And yet, the voices continued, coming from both sides of the cabin. Kalena, it's me. Kalena. It's always been me. She turned to the man. How do we stop it? He finally looked up at her. We don't. We survive it. Kalena took a shaky breath. Her fingers tightened around the blade. Her other hand still clutched the beacon. Why won't you let me call my people? He stood slowly, walked toward her with a kind of stillness that made her uneasy. Because if you do, that thing will hear the signal. I thought you said. You fixed the beacon. I did. Then let me use it. He took a step closer, his voice low, serious. Not until I show you something. He walked to the trapdoor again, the one that led below the cabin, and opened it. Kalena hesitated. Her body screamed no. Her brain said, what if it's another trick? But her curiosity was louder. She followed him. Again. This time, he didn't stop in the main underground chamber. He walked farther, deeper, to a sealed vault door. He typed a code. The screen blinked red, then green. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, darkness. He flicked a switch. The lights came on dim, flickering, and Kalena froze. Asterisk rows of cryo-pods. At least 20. All lined up like bodies in coffins. Most were empty. A few had shattered glass. Burned marks. Claw marks. But 3 were still full. Inside. Figures. Alien. Just like her. Kalena's heart dropped. I don't understand, she whispered. The man walked to one of the filled pods and wiped frost from the glass. The face inside was unmistakable. It was Kalena. She stepped back. Her breathing turned sharp, shallow. What is this? She gasped. He stared at the pod. You asked what was real. Here's your answer. No, that's not me. I'm me. You think so? She shook her head violently. No, you're trying to mess with my head. He nodded slowly. Yes, I am. Because if I don't, they will. She looked again. The pod's biometric readout matched her exactly. Heart rate, brain waves, DNA signature. All Kalena. She stumbled backward. No, I crashed here. I burned my clothes. I nearly froze. He cut her off. You think you did? What does that mean? He looked at her with eyes full of pity. Asterisk. That thing outside doesn't just copy you. It rebuilds you. It pulls you apart and puts you back together, traps you inside your own story. She stepped away. You're saying I'm not real? I'm saying you're not the first Kalina to say that exact line. She dropped the blade, fell to her knees. Asterisk. Her mind screamed for logic, for order, for truth. Then she remembered. The beacon. She pulled it out, stared at it. Is this real? She whispered. He didn't answer. Just watched. I press this, she said, trembling, and maybe I'm rescued. Or maybe I just wake up in another pod. Still silence. Then the lights flickered again. A whisper echoed in the vault. A woman's voice. Kalina, wake up. She looked around. No, don't do this to me. The voice again. You're dreaming, Kalina. Come back. We need you. She turned to the man. Who's doing this? He shook his head. Could be your people. Could be it. The shadow doesn't just hunt you. It studies you. It learns your fears. Your memories. It builds loops. It turns hope into traps. Kalina stood, eyes wild, hair damp with sweat. I need to know what's real. He looked at her, then opened the last door, she remembered. The black door in the underground bunker. The one he warned her not to open. You said it could kill me. It might. Or it might show you everything. Kalina stared at him. Then walked away, toward the black door, toward the final truth. As she reached it, her fingers hovered over the keypad. Then she heard herself whisper behind her, don't do it. She turned fast. No one there. Just shadows. Watching. Waiting. She opened the door. Light spilled out, but it wasn't white. It was red. Hum filled the air. Inside was a machine. Tall, glowing, buzzing with alien symbols. Human wires tangled into it like vines. Memory cores. Neural implants. And in the middle a chair. Worn. Used. With her name engraved on it. She stepped forward. And the screen above the machine flickered to life. A log appeared. Subject: Kalina 019. Status: loop in progress. Success rate: 8%. Reconstruction in progress. Kalina stared at the screen and screamed. Asterisk. The Betra Hileus scream echoed through the vault, bouncing off metal in madness. She backed away from the machine, her breath sharp and fast. Subject: Kalina 019. Loop in progress. Her name, her number, her loop. She wasn't the first. She wasn't even the original. Just copy 19. She turned, stumbling back toward the vault door. And that's when she heard the voice. Not from a speaker, not from outside. From inside her own head. Don't be afraid. This was always the plan. Kalina grabbed her head, eyes wide. No, but the voice didn't stop. Loop 19 is the most successful. You lasted longer than the others. We're proud of you. We? No reply. Just a soft click behind her. The machine had powered up. The man stood in the doorway, arms crossed. His eyes were dark. You opened it. His voice was calm, empty. Too empty. Kalina pointed the beacon at him like a weapon. What is this? What am I? He didn't move. Just watched her. I tried to protect you from it, from the truth. She laughed bitterly. You lied. You hid all of this from me. I had to. He stepped forward. She stepped back. I've watched 18 versions of you fall apart, he said quietly. Beg for rescue. Some even begged me to end it. Kalina's knees weakened. And you just watched? I had to. She wanted to scream. She wanted to run. But the vault was spinning around her. The machine's hum grew louder. Her thoughts raced. Was she real? Was she ever real? Had she ever burned her clothes? Or was that part of the script? Her hand twitched. Toward the beacon. The man saw it. You activate that. The loop resets. I thought it calls my people. He nodded. That's what it makes you think. The air got colder. The lights dimmed. Then a new voice entered the room. Familiar, gentle hers. Kalina. He's lying. She spun around, standing in the vault doorway. Was herself. An exact copy. Same face, same eyes, same scars. Version 018. Kalina gasped. She looked to the man. His eyes didn't move. He wasn't surprised. 018 stepped forward. You've been played. We both have. He doesn't work for your people. He works for it. Kalina shook her head. What do you mean? 18 looked at the man with hatred. He was part of the first expedition. The one that found the machine. It infected him. He's not human anymore. Kalina backed away from both of them now. The man's face didn't change. No matter what she tells you, he said, you can't trust her. She's already broken. The loop corrupted her. 18 laughed coldly. That's what he tells all of us, right before the reset. Kalina's head pounded. What is the loop? What is this machine doing to me? The man finally stepped closer to the chair in the center of the room. This machine is a recorder, a simulator. A way to test choices, emotions, decisions. 18 interrupted, her voice bitter. It's a cage. It keeps us running in circles. It learns from us. It grows stronger every time we break. Kalina looked at the machine again. It had changed. No longer cold and lifeless. It pulsed now like a heart. Alien symbols crawled across the screen like living insects. Kalina's hands were shaking. If this is a loop, how do I break it? Neither answered. The machine did. You must choose. Kill one. Free the other. The room went still. Kalina looked at 018. Then the man. 018 stepped forward, eyes pleading. He's not who he says he is. I tried to kill him in my loop. I failed. I ended up back in the pod. The man's voice was low, calm. She's a decoy. A distraction. The loop makes copies when you get too close to breaking out. Don't trust it. Kalina raised the beacon. Pointed it at 018. Give me one reason not to kill you. 18 didn't flinch. Because I remember things you don't. The ice. The first crash. The second one. You think this is your first time meeting him? Kalina paused. It's not? 18's eyes filled with tears. You loved him once. He betrayed you then too. Kalina turned to the man. His face was still. Blank. Expressionless. Then. Something in his eyes flickered. Glitched. For a split second. His pupils shifted. Vertical. Snake-like. Kalina stepped back. You. He took a step toward her. You weren't supposed to see that. 18 yelled. Now. Kalina didn't. Think. She threw the beacon at the machine. It shattered against the console. Sparks flew. The lights turned red. Alarms blared. The vault began to shake. Loop disruption detected. Abort sequence initiated. Kalina grabbed 018's arm and ran for the stairs. The man screamed, his voice layered now, echoing with something non-human. Underneath, they reached the cabin. The fire had gone out. The windows were broken. Outside. In the snow, dozens of versions of Kalina stood in the trees, watching, silent, motionless. Like ghosts. 018 whispered, "This is where we wake up." Kalina stared at the sky. Her vision blurred. The world around her cracked like glass. And then, nothing. The escape darkness. Still, cold, quiet. Kalina opened her eyes. She was lying on her back in snow, staring at a sky full of stars she no longer trusted. Her heart was pounding like it had something to escape. She sat up fast. Breathing hard. 018 was beside her, barely moving. Pale, bleeding from her nose, and the world around them had changed. The trees were twisted now. Their bark moved like it was breathing. The cabin was gone, just a blackened hole in the snow where it once stood. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was waiting. Kalina stood slowly. Her legs were weak, her mind weaker, but something had shifted inside her. No more questions. No more doubt. She wanted out. Are we out of the loop? She asked. 018 coughed. No, but we broke the script. The machine doesn't know what comes next. That, apparently, was dangerous because just then, the ground shuddered. Kalina looked toward the tree line. Something huge moved between the trees. Tall, thin, wrong. A shadow without a source. What is that? Kalina whispered. 018 single quotes. His voice was dry. The system's backup plan. It can't fix the loop, so now it's trying to delete us. Delete us. Think of it like a corrupted file. We're the glitch. The shadow grew taller, closer. The trees around it withered to ash. Kalina grabbed 018's arm and helped her up. Can we outrun it? No, but maybe we can outsmart it. 18 pointed to the sky. See that? High above, hidden between blinking stars, was something metal, round, rotating. A satellite, alien design. But with human additions, antennas. Signal relays. Kalina's eyes widened. The source. 018 nodded. The machine doesn't control the loop. That does. Then we destroy it. Kalina spoke the words before fear could interrupt. 018 stared at her. You realize we don't have weapons. No ship, no plan, just trauma and bad shoes. Kalina looked down at her boots. Fair. A low roar echoed from the trees. The shadow was closer, and now it had eyes, hundreds of them, staring in every direction. No time. Kalina grabbed the broken beacon parts from the snow. If we can hijack the signal. 018 caught on instantly. We might be able to overload the uplink. Kalina smiled faintly. You remember being a genius? Comes and goes. They ran. Frost bit their lungs. The snow felt deeper now, heavy, dragging. Behind them, the shadow moved like liquid smoke. Everything it touched died. Trees, air, light. It wasn't chasing. It was consuming. But Kalina wasn't afraid anymore. She'd been hunted, broken, rebuilt, erased. Now, she was done playing nice with reality. They reached the buried crash site, Kalina's ship, or at least one of them. Version 019, maybe older. It was cracked, but the main relay antenna was still intact. They climbed in. Keep it short, 018 said. Once we activate the signal, that thing will know. Kalina rewired the beacon fragments into the relay. Hands trembling. Bloodied, she pressed the final button. A pulse shot upward. A high-pitched whine filled the air. Above them, the satellite blinked red, warning lights. The ground screamed. The shadow howled 1,000. Human voices all overlapping. Kalina gritted her teeth. Come on, come on. 18 was staring at the screen. Overload building. But not enough. We need more power. Kalina looked at her. What if we use the chair? 18 blinked. The machine chair? We route the relay through its memory core. All the failed loops. All that pain. All those Kalinas. 18 stared for one long second, then said, let's turn trauma into a bomb. They sprinted. The machine room was still intact. Kalina sat in the chair. Patch me in, she told 018. But it'll rewrite your brain. Let it try. 18 slammed the connection. Kalina felt everything. Pain, love, fear, death, versions of herself screaming, fighting, begging, memories that weren't hers, yet they were. She gripped the armrests. The chair lit up. The relay screamed. The satellite above cracked, just a line at first, then a fracture. The shadow entered the room, its many eyes focused on her. And for the first time, it hesitated. Kalina smiled. Too late. She triggered the pulse. The satellite exploded, blinding. White light pouring down from the sky like the wrath of a dying god. The ground split. The shadow screamed. Reality cracked open, and everything turned to light, silence. Kalina opened her eyes. Sunlight. Real sunlight. Warm, yellow, bright. She was in a field, green grass. Trees swaying gently. A breeze kissed her skin. No snow. No loops. No machine. No man. No 018. Just peace. But then, a beep in her hand. She looked down. The broken beacon. Now hold. It glowed once. Then projected a message. Congratulations, subject. Kelena, 020. Loop broken. Primary consciousness restored. Preparing for return. Her smile faded. Return? The sky shimmered. Like glass. And from the wind, she heard her own voice. Wake up, Kelena. It's time to try again.